In this lesson, we're going to be drawing a more complex object using our perspective drawing techniques. In our previous lesson, we were able to use our drawing techniques to just create a more everyday object, so we were able to draw a phone. And now we're going to draw something a little bit more complex. And so I want you to just kind of look around your office or your class or your bedroom, your front room for like a nice desk, something that has a few angles and just a little bit more complexity, and we're going to just sit at an angle, and we're going to start to sketch that out, and then we're going to use our perspective finding techniques to find our vanishing point and create some trajectory lines that will really help us line this thing up. So I'm going to start out here, and I'm just going to use our brush tool, our 2B, and just about 6 pixels will work. And I'm just kind of looking over here at this desk, and I'm just going to start out, I'm just going to draw the surface of the desk first. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to kind of capture the angles on it and the general shape here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to kind of help me kind of define the shape also of this desk. And so once I am pretty good with the basic shape of the desk, I'm going to now just kind of sketch out. So I'm just going to hold shift. I'm just dragging these lines down. And these lines are going to help me line things up and kind of figure out the desk itself. And so the basic shape. So I actually have the front of this desk is actually pretty long. I'm actually going to open up my canvas a little bit, and feel free to do this, to just open up your canvas. That's one of the benefits of working digitally, is that your canvas can always get bigger. And so for our desk here, the shape of this desk is about like this. And then the angle of it would be about like this. And so I'm just kind of creating that shape of the desk. I've kind of turned it into a nice cube. And now we need to kind of come in and start carving out the desk. And so we do have this lip here. So this is actually void. And then the face of the desk here, we do have some drawers we'll carve out, and then they're about like that. And then these drawers, so if I were to go ahead and follow this line back here, so we have this lip of the desk, of the drawers, kind of come forward. And so we also have a leg back here. And so this leg comes down about this far. So if I were to bring that back, then this leg would pop out about right here. So if we just followed this path towards our vanishing point, we would meet our back leg about right here. So we can go ahead and bring this part of the desk. So if we brought this part over for our drawers, it'd look about like this. Then we do have a lip that comes across, and then this lip. But we do have this little bit of an overhang, so I do need to account for that. And then this leg seems to be about right here. So we've kind of carved out the shape of our desk now. So if it even helps you to erase a little bit, you can do that, just to kind of help you make out this shape. About like that. Awesome. All right, so now we can start to use, oh, we also have this little support beam that goes across. Don't forget that. Your desk might not have one, but this one does. And then this desk actually has a little bit more lip here that kind of goes over. Something like that. Awesome. All right. Now, if you want to, shape it up a little bit, that's fine too. What you're doing is you're just kind of capturing everything, kind of keeping it loose. And then let's go ahead and create another layer. And this layer will be our trajectory lines. And we'll grab our line tool, and we're going to go ahead and keep this as a shape. And our fill can be something nice and easy to see like blue. But one thing that we'll do is we're going to also open up our canvas, because we want to be able to easily get to our vanishing point. Something like that. Maybe even a little bit more. There we go. Now we'll go back to our line tool, and we're going to allow that crop to happen. And so since we're working digitally, we can open up our canvas a lot. We can find our vanishing point, and then if you need to crop back in, awesome, go ahead and do that. And so we're going to go ahead and start with our line tool, and we're going to, maybe we'll start with this edge over here. We're just going to drag this over. So I'm going to nudge that over so I can see where I'm going. And I'll bring it over to about right there. And then I'll start with, maybe I'll start with this little leg down here. Going to bring that in. And it looks like we're starting to have our vanishing point be right there. And so if I were to go off of this vanishing point, it looks like I could probably line up right about there. So for these legs down here, if I were to drag those out, so it looks like I would intersect that leg about right there. But let's see if these other lines line up. So maybe if I took this edge right here, looks like we're getting things that aren't quite lining up. Do you see that? Okay, so this is what we'll need to do. We're going to back up a couple steps here. So let's use this angle first, and then we'll kind of determine where this leg needs to be. So we'll go ahead and we'll use this line first. We'll use this line. And that's going to be about right there. So now we know our vanishing point is about right here. So we'll go ahead and we can also define these legs down here. Looks like we'll be about right there. And then we can also help define our little bar. Can we define our legs? Let's take a look here. So it looks like we can create them about right there. And so if you can look, we'd have a line that would, this leg would come straight up, and we can go ahead and firm that up. And so we can also use this line to help us over here with this edge of the desk. Because, as you're sketching this out, you're not going to sketch it out perfectly, but this is the whole reason why we're using trajectory lines, to just kind of help us define these things for our desk. So we do have this vanishing point that we've determined, so we can go ahead and create the edge of our desk over here. And it's actually a little off here. There we go. So we'll put that about right there. And then the lip of that desk about right there. Then we have these vertical lines that we'll just easily draw in here in just a second. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we're going to grab all of our trajectory lines and group them up, kind of clean up our layers palette, and let's create a new layer, and we'll just start to draw in our desk. So I'm going to call this our desk, and we can use line tool, or we can actually just use our pencil tool or our paintbrush. So I'm going to grab just a regular hard brush, about 6 pixels. I don't want any kind of shape dynamics, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, close that up. We're just going to come through here, and we'll just start to, I'm going to grab black instead. I'm going to tap out here the corners of my desk. I'm just going to hold shift and just tap out those corners. Just like that. Awesome. So now I know the corners of my desk. And then we do have some other trajectory lines that we can go by. I'm just going to draw the edge of that desk and go ahead and grab that edge. So now we have the top edge of our desk. And then we have this leg here. Looks like that we have already defined. So if you want to click, hold shift, bring that straight up. So now we have this edge, and then this is another edge. I'm going to bring that straight up. I'm going to open that up and then bring that straight up. And so I'm just holding shift as I drag this part straight up. And then looks like we have this part of the desk here. So if I know that is a leg, I can just bring that straight up and bring that straight up. And then this one. Then I do have this lip. I'm just going to click, hold shift, click again. And then we didn't actually define this edge of it, and we could just create a trajectory line for that one. But while we're at it, we might as well go ahead and finish out this little support beam. And so there could be just a little bit of a lip in here that we could just kind of hint at. And then let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and create another. So I'm just going to click on one of these shapes in here. I'm going to grab that line tool, but I'm going to just combine the shapes so we don't have to keep creating new shapes. I'm just going to drag this over to that vanishing point, and let's see if there's any more we need. We also need, looks like the edge of this desk, and we'll go ahead and drag that over. And then looks like that's about it. We kind of know where everything else is going to fall. So we'll go ahead and close that up and go back to our desk and grab our brush tool. So hit B. And we do have an idea of where this is going to be. I'm just going to hold shift and bring that straight down. Tap and then move this over. And then we can also go ahead and finish out this leg. And then bring that over, and I'm going to just bring that edge up. And this is where our other leg was supposed to be. But before I do that, I want to kind of take a look here. I want to grab one more trajectory I can grab out. And I'm going to pull one out where this would actually be underneath this desk, and that'll kind of tell me where to bring this part of the desk down. So I can go and grab that line, and so it's actually going to be about from right here, and bring that to my vanishing point. And then just zoom in here. So yeah, this would be about right here. That line's going to come straight down. And so I could probably pull out a guide to kind of help me. So take into account the thickness of the desk, and we'd go straight down. So I'd hold shift, bring that down, tap, hold shift, tap again. Awesome. So now I can bring up that little leg of the desk. Great. And then let's take a look here. Looks like we have this part of the desk. Oh yes, we can draw that lip in. So tap, hold shift, and tap again. And it looks like we have everything drawn in. And you might want to go ahead and hide your trajectory, maybe even hide that. Oh, looks like we drew a little bit more than we were supposed to. That's no problem. We can just erase that little part there. Great. And then you can come back over and you could shade things in. You can draw in any part of this desk that, like maybe some special handles or anything like that. And so we now have our desk that we just drew using 2-point perspective, and then we're able to create it from a sketch. So let's take a look here. So this matches our sketch pretty well from how we kind of sketched it out, but now it's at least it's true to our perspective. Very cool. So in our next lesson, we're going to create something, just create an object and allow it to match existing environment and match its perspective. So stick around.